fear. The war with Iran, 1980 to 88, behaved this way. Simple. They were subjected to technology that was so extreme and incomprehensible that they were suddenly reduced to the level of compliant children and felt grateful to still be alive in the wake of their mind-racing experiences.
Yeah, but don't you think that that's really, if it was anything, it was the sound weapons? I mean, we've seen the sound weapons tested now on our own troops, and immediately it feels like your entire body's on fire. You lose any kind of function other than to run away or retreat. You know, I could see it being that. I don't necessarily think it's mind control, and I really just don't know how that would play into, you know, these DTV boxes. I thank you for the call. I mean, again, I try to let people speak, but the DTV boxes are mind control, folks. Give me some evidence. Don't just tell me about a war where a bunch of people surrendered. I mean, you know, we do have sound wave weapons. That is not, it's something I can talk about. It's something they used at the RNC in 2004. You know, there's a lot of hokey stuff out there. I remember a couple times, you know, Infowars gets these tips that are hoaxes, you know, the hand sound weapon and all that other stuff. Look, they got sound weapons. They can shoot concentrated beams of sound at you, and it feels like you're on fire. To me, that's what would make people surrender. Even in the 80s, it's plausible to me that that technology has been around since then. Is it mind control? Is it a part of HARP? I doubt it. I got to see some real evidence, and for someone to just come off and say the DirecTV boxes are mind control, I just don't see where that's coming from. All right, let's jump to Chris in Pennsylvania. Chris, you're on the line.
Hey.
How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing pretty good. There were a few things that I wanted to bring up. One of the other callers said something about like a fire drill or something going on.
He basically said that every week in his town on Wednesday, they have an alarm going off, and it is an emergency response alarm, but it's just a drill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had the same thing going on like every day on noon in my town that I grew up in, and I don't see it being something that you'd really have to worry about. It's probably just testing the system.
Yeah, no, I wasn't that worried about it. I'd be more worried about it when you see troops on the street or you see them forming for a, you know, mass casualty exercise or a terrorism exercise, or, you know, you see, you know, checkpoints, or like that reporter that was filming these troops helping with a car accident. Oh, what happens? No filmy, we're going to arrest you. You know, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
That's the stuff to worry about to me. I mean, like I just went through with this last guy, I stick to stuff I can prove. You know, that's why when I'm talking to Deborah in Michigan and we're talking about the Census Bureau and the questions they're asking about you, and I just got to tell the lady, look, Big Brother's here. They're already admittedly spying on you. They already have all the information they want on you if they want it. It's all been packaged somewhere. It's all been archived. What's wrong is they don't have the manpower to not only go through all this information intelligently, but then enforce what they would like, which would be mass roundups and killings. I mean, that's what they want. That's their control grid. That's why they're about to drill it. They're about to drill a mass spying terrorism exercise in the United States with the UK, with Mexico, with Canada, with Australia, and it's the first one of its kind, and I'll bet your ass that AT&T is going to be involved giving up any information that the federales want or the international intelligence organizations want. Anything else, Chris?
Yeah, there were a few things I wanted to bring up. You and Alex tend to bring up Googling.
Yes.
Like you guys say, go Google this. There was a story that you can find through searchinfowars.com about, I don't know what the guy's name was, but he said something about how Google was in bed
with the CIA.
With the CIA, yes.
They absolutely are. They didn't start out that way, but they absolutely are. And a lot of things are going missing from Google. Yeah. But as far as I have found, it is still the best search engine out there with the best Boolean searches. And if you know a certain phrase, it's very easy. Some of the other ones I use when that doesn't work out for me, or if I'm really, you know, trying to do a deep search, I can't find what I'm looking for, and I know it exists, I'll go to web crawler. There
was this one website I wanted to bring up called ixquick.com.
Okay, ixquick, is that a search engine?
Yes, it's a search engine. You can do video, pictures, and web. There's also a phone option, but I wouldn't suggest using it because those pretty much don't work online. And it's pretty good. It's an encrypted web search, your ISP, and pretty much no one else will be able to look at it. And you can search for pretty much anything. it's not nearly as good as Google, but it pretty much rivals Yahoo.
Well, I mean, dog piles out there, web crawlers out there. Google's relatively new. Google was something I learned to use in the last, 8 years or so. I mean, before, 2000, 2001, I never even, Google wasn't even around. It was all Yahoo and all this other stuff. I just tell people to check into everything. Google isn't the only thing, but it's usually the quickest and the most accurate. But, you can find some gems out there if you're willing to search. I thank you for the call, Chris. Let's jump to Scott in Washington. Scott, you're on the line.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up this thing of the this national compulsory service thing.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it funny now all of a sudden that these so-called liberals are now all of a sudden in line for this so-called thing because it's their guy that they don't want to admit who's trying to push this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to me that I remember a lot of them sitting around there hyperventilating when they thought that John McCain, if he got elected, he was talking about 100 years war and he'll have the draft and all of this stuff. But, these so-called liberals are also complicit for it. Just for example, and I'll bring him up because, he brought it up on Alex's show, Tom Hartman sitting there talking that crap and trying to misquote, or I don't know whether Jefferson actually said it or not, and I don't really care, trying to say that this is what Jefferson wants. What Tom Hartman was doing was quoting exactly what Rahm Emanuel has been saying for the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just plain sickening.
I agree. Everybody has their blind spots as well. I think Tom Hartman overall is a really good guy. But if you're buying into the compulsory service and these youth brigades, you have to really rethink your position. And one of these guys over at Air America, he's a comedian, his name's Mark Maron. He just did this whole disgusting video blog about Alex Jones and associated with Glenn Beck. You saw it, right? Well, he actually says that the camps are good, or the re-education is good, and the civilian service is good. And he's like, good, let them learn. He acts like they're going to be learning math in these in this National Service Corps, in this mandatory service. He says it's a great thing. He's all for the re-education camps, in his own words.
Well, it's not just that. It was also Benazir Brzezinski talked about this stuff too, and it's just like, and I'm legitimately talking about the government of Israel and their policies, not the people, but that seems like that they're enforcing that kind of a will over here. And, all of a sudden, the left can't seem to see that. It's all about protecting their party, but if it's the right, they're neo-Nazis, and they go for this kind of stuff. And it's like, give us a break. Do they think that everyone is this stupid? Now,
no, but they do believe they can control the paradigm, just like you never heard about a Tea Party in the national media ever until this year, when Fox co-opted it and they made it a right and left issue. So as long as they can get the lemmings fighting with each other and rooting for a team, that's all they care about, because that releases the steam on the valve and it cools off the population from any chance of a revolt or a revolution or even a peaceful reformation of the Constitution and Bill of Rights, because they don't know what the issues are. They're too busy worried about being conservative or liberal.
Well, now, what really makes me mad with Tom Hartman bringing this up, now, from what I've read of his past, back in the Vietnam War, he joined college to avoid the draft, but yet he's going to tell somebody else's kid that they need to go over to Afghanistan and if he wants to take his little skinny ass and get his face blown off, he's more than welcome to do that.
Well, the real issue is that what are the chances, even if Tom Hartman were to go over there, that he would get his face blown off? There's really no major combat going in Afghanistan. It's all fiction. It's all an excuse to put troops in there. It's all a excuse to keep infrastructure in Afghanistan so they can continue to build their Eurasian Union, sir. I thank you for the call.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got Israel in their pocket. Israel's intelligence agency is the same as the United States intelligence agency. They're arms of each other. All right? Let me give you an example. Iran-Contra. They use Israel as a proxy. Israel provides the money for the guns. They round up the guns in the Czech Republic and elsewhere. They give them to the United States. The United States flies them down to South America, where they trade them to the Contras for drugs, which they then peddle in the U.S. 9/11. Israel is used as a proxy to spy on the American people through Amdocs and Comverse, to pull off some of the more hardcore aspects of 9/11, being caught with explosives on the day of 9/11. But at the same time, you can't just have Israel run the op. You need Pakistani intelligence for plausible deniability to fund the hijackers. You need U.S. intelligence in Saudi Arabia to set up this visa department where they're working with Islamic militants and Osama bin Laden to bring a lot of the hijackers into the United States to train at U.S. bases. You need the continuity of government program in the United States to help pull off and coordinate the attacks through drills. So again, this is truly an international intelligence organization. And they are hell-bent on building a global governance society, a new world order. All right, let's go to our next caller. Brian in Texas, you're on the line.
Thanks. I'm calling about the child health care insurance policy that Texas Department of Insurance has.
Okay.
That's, it seems to be a subliminal acclimating, like the Masons have a chip program, too.
The Masani chip program?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so down the line, it looks like that, you know, while you just call it chip right now, that later on they'll actually implement an actual chip.
Yeah, and